The intervention was my mother's idea. She'd orchestrated it perfectly. Sunday brunch at our family estate. Everyone dressed in a concern, appropriate best. I could smell the expensive coffee and judgment as soon as I walked in. Alexandra, darling. Mom adjusted her Cartier bracelet. We're all here because we care. The all included my older brother Michael in his custom Tom Ford suit, my father pretending to read the Wall Street Journal while stealing glances at his Patek Philippe watch, and my sister-in-law Diana, who'd never worked a day in her life, but had strong opinions about proper career choices. I'd chosen my outfit carefully. Slightly worn jeans, a simple sweater from Target, scuffed boots. Let them think I couldn't afford better. It made what was coming so much sweeter. We've been watching your attempts at running a business, Michael began, setting down his third cup of imported coffee. The small office in that questionable part of downtown. The late hours. It's clearly not working. Diana nodded sympathetically, diamonds catching the morning light. There's no shame in admitting defeat. Michael's firm is always hiring junior analysts. I sipped my coffee quietly, thinking about the real office, the one they didn't know about. 40 stories up in the glass tower downtown, overlooking the city I was quietly reshaping. Your father and I, Mom continued, we hate seeing you struggle. Living in that tiny apartment, driving that old car. When you could be living properly, Michael interrupted. Like us. By properly, he meant the mansion he'd mortgaged to the hilt, the cars he leased to impress clients, the lifestyle that was 90% smoke and mirrors. I knew his real financial situation. I knew everyone's. We took the liberty, Dad finally spoke, sliding a folder across the marble dining table, of having Michael's firm analyze your company's prospects. I opened it, scanning numbers I already knew were wrong. They'd only found the surface company, the small consulting front I'd maintained for exactly this purpose. The market analysis suggests bankruptcy within 6 months, Michael said, clearly enjoying himself. But if you let me step in now, maybe we can salvage something. Salvage, I repeated softly, remembering his words from 3 years ago when he tried to steal my initial investors. When he told everyone I was playing at business. It's time to be realistic, Mom pressed. You're not cut out for. Michael's phone chimed. He glanced at it dismissively, then froze. The coffee cup slipped from his fingers, shattering on the imported tiles. What's wrong? Diana grabbed his phone, then gasped. That's impossible. What? Mom demanded. Michael's voice shook. Why is Alexandra's company valued at $4 billion on Bloomberg? The room fell silent. I pulled out my own phone, opening the article I'd known was coming. Tech innovator Alexandra Bennett emerges as industry giant. Neurotech solutions valued at $4 billion after stealth mode exit. There must be a mistake. Dad reached for the phone. Some other Alexandra. No mistake, I said quietly, reaching into my bag. Though the valuation's a bit off, we're closer to $5.2 billion after this morning's private equity round. I placed my business card on the table, not the simple consulting one they knew. The real one, embossed CEO title, downtown office address, the company logo they were now seeing splashed across financial news worldwide. But your little office, Mom stammered. A front, I explained, useful for keeping competitors and nosy family members from seeing what I was really building. Building what? Michael demanded, scrolling frantically through the Bloomberg article. This says something about artificial intelligence and neural networks. The next generation of machine learning. I confirmed. Patents pending in 42 countries. Google tried to buy us last month for $3 billion. We declined. Diana's perfectly contoured face had gone pale. All this time, I continued, while you were mocking my struggling business, I was raising 9 figures in venture capital. While you pitied my old car, I was hiring the best engineers in the country. And while you planned this little intervention, I was closing deals with 3 Fortune 10 companies. Dad's hands shook as he read the article. Private investors, major technological breakthrough, revolutionary applications in healthcare and finance. The apartment you felt sorry for me living in. I smiled slightly. I own the building, just like I own the questionable office building downtown. Real estate's a good investment when you know where the tech sector is expanding. Michael stood abruptly. You can't have. I would have known. Would you? I raised an eyebrow. Like you knew your firm was about to lose its biggest client. He paled. What? Oh, did I forget to mention? I checked my watch. Your managing partner is probably reading the email right now. Neurotech Solutions is terminating all contracts with Bennett Financial, effective immediately. The sound of breaking china made us all turn. Mom had dropped her favorite teacup, hands pressed to her mouth as another Bloomberg alert flashed across Michael's phone. Neurotech CEO Alexandra Bennett named to Forbes 40 under 40, the stealth billionaire who revolutionized AI. Billionaire? Diana whispered. I stood, straightening my Target sweater. We should probably discuss how this changes the family dynamic, but not today. I picked up my worn leather bag, actually handcrafted Italian, worth more than Michael's car. I have a board meeting to prepare for. The room remained frozen as I walked to the door. Just before leaving, I turned back. Oh, and Michael? About that junior analyst position. I think I'll pass. Their stunned silence followed me out into the morning sun, where my driver waited with the car I actually drove to important meetings. A perfect Sunday brunch, indeed. The next 48 hours were exactly what I'd predicted. The financial world exploded with speculation about the stealth billionaire who'd built an AI empire in secret. My phone filled with messages from family members who'd suddenly remembered our deep connection. Aunt Catherine, darling, always knew you were special. Cousin Peter, remember when we shared crayons in kindergarten? Uncle James, let's discuss investment opportunities. I sat in my actual office, 40 stories above the city, reviewing their desperate attempts at reconciliation with my chief of staff, Sarah. Your brothers tried to get past security 6 times today, she reported, sliding a stack of contracts across my desk. His wife called pretending to be from Goldman Sachs. I smiled, signing the documents. And my parents. Your mother's been calling every society magazine in the country, claiming she was your earliest supporter and mentor. Sarah checked her tablet. Your father's parked outside in his Mercedes for 3 hours. Has he figured out I own this building yet? No. He thinks you're just renting the penthouse office. Should I enlighten him? I glanced at the security feed, showing my father's car. Not yet. Let's see how long he sits there. My phone buzzed with an alert. Michael had just walked into Bennett Financial's morning meeting. Perfect timing. I pulled up the live stream from their conference room, another system they didn't know I controlled. You should see this, I told Sarah. On screen, Michael strutted to the head of the table, clearly ready to damage control. But before he could speak, his managing partner stood up. Would anyone care to explain? The partner held up his phone. Why our biggest client dropped us without warning? And why said client happens to be run by Michael's sister? The room erupted. Michael's face went from confident to panicked in seconds. Losing Neurotech means a 40% drop in annual revenue, the partner continued. And their new public profile would have doubled our fees. I can fix this, Michael stammered. Alexandra's jest? She's playing games. I'll talk to her. Like you talked to her 3 years ago. A voice came from the door. Everyone turned to see James Chen, my head of strategic partnerships, walking in. When you tried to steal her initial investors. Michael's face went white. How did you? We have the emails, Michael. James placed a folder on the table. Your attempts to discredit her to venture capital firms. Your calls to potential clients warning them away. Very thorough paper trail. I watched Michael sink into his chair as James continued. Neurotech Solutions isn't just terminating contracts. We're filing formal complaints with the SEC about your firm's attempts at market manipulation. Sarah whistled softly. That's going to leave a mark. He earned it, I replied, thinking of all the times Michael had tried to sabotage my company's growth. Actions have consequences. My office door opened and Maya, my general counsel, entered with another stack of documents. Your parents' financial records, as requested. You were right. They're leveraged to the hilt. The estate, the cars, everything's mortgaged through Bennett Financial. Michael's been handling their investments, I noted, scanning the papers. Moving money around to hide the holes. Classic pyramid scheme, Maya confirmed. Using new client funds to cover family losses. If the SEC investigates his firm, they'd lose everything. I leaned back, watching my father still sitting in his car below, unless someone steps in to help. Sarah raised an eyebrow. You're not seriously considering. Family's complicated, I interrupted, pulling up another file. But timing is everything. On my screen, another Bloomberg alert flashed. Neurotech Solutions announces new investment division. Industry veterans join leadership team. Right on cue, my phone rang. Mother's number. Darling. Her voice dripped honey and desperation. We simply must talk about this unfortunate misunderstanding. Your father and I are facing financial ruin if Michael's firm collapses. I finished. Which it will, once the SEC investigation starts. Silence. Then, how did you? I know everything, Mother. The mortgages, the loans, the shell games Michael's been playing with your money. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Alexandra, please. For the first time in my life, I heard real fear in her voice. Be at my office tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring Dad and Michael. Leave Diana at home. This is family business. Your office? But we don't know where. Look up. I watched through my window as my father finally raised his head, seeing the Neurotech Solutions logo gleaming on the building he'd been parked beside for hours. 41st floor, I said. Don't be late. I ended the call and turned to my team. Maya, prepare the bailout paperwork, but with our conditions. Sarah, call the SEC. Tell them we found irregularities in Bennett Financial's records that we'd like to address privately first. And Michael's managing partner? Sarah asked. Let him sweat until tomorrow. Fear's a powerful motivator for cooperation. They left to execute the plan, leaving me alone looking out over the city. On my desk, the family photo from Sunday brunch sat next to the Bloomberg article announcing my company's emergence. The contrast between their pitying looks then and their panic now was striking. But this wasn't about revenge. It was about rebuilding, on my terms this time. Tomorrow, I would offer them salvation. But first, they needed to understand exactly who they were dealing with. The quiet daughter they'd underestimated wasn't so quiet anymore. They arrived at 8:57 a.m. Mother in channel, father in his best crisis management suit, and Michael looking like he hadn't slept in days. My security team made them wait in the lobby for exactly 15 minutes before escorting them up. The elevator opened directly into my office suite, where floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city. I'd arranged the seating carefully, them on the low couch, me at my desk on a slightly elevated platform. Power dynamics matter. Your company owns the whole building, Father asked, trying to mask his shock with business casual interest. Among others, I replied, not looking up from my screen where I was watching Bennett Financial's stock price continue its downward spiral. Michael, your firm's lost 27% of its value since yesterday. Impressive. He shifted uncomfortably. The market's overreacting. Once I explained. Explain what? I turned my screen, showing internal emails from his firm. The unauthorized use of client funds, the misleading investment reports, or your personal offshore accounts. Mother gasped. Father's carefully maintained composure cracked. How did you? Michael started. 3 years ago, when you tried to sabotage my initial funding rounds, I hired the best forensic accountants in the business. They found everything. I pressed a button, and documents began appearing on the wall screens. Every hidden transaction, every falsified report, every client you've deceived. Alexandra, Mother cut in, surely we can discuss this as a family. Like you discussed my failing business as a family? I stood, walking to the windows. Or like Michael discussed my company with potential investors, telling them I was emotionally unstable and financially irresponsible? Father stepped forward. Whatever Michael did, your mother and I leveraged everything you own through his firm. I turned back to them. The estate's mortgaged 3 times over. Your art collection's being used as collateral for high-interest loans. Even Mom's precious jewelry is tied up in investment schemes. Mother's hand flew to her pearls. That's not possible. Show them, I said to the air. My AI system responded instantly, projecting detailed financial records onto every wall. Their entire financial house of cards, exposed in high-resolution glory. When the SEC investigation becomes public, I continued, you'll lose everything. The estate, the cars, the country club memberships, all gone. The Bennett name will become synonymous with fraud. Michael jumped up. You can't prove. Actually, a new voice interrupted. James Chen walked in, carrying a thick binder. We can prove all of it. Your sister's AI system has been tracking your firm's transactions for years. The evidence is comprehensive. Who is this? Father demanded. James Chen, head of strategic partnerships at Neurotech Solutions. He handed each of them a document. And these are your options. I watched them read, seeing the exact moment they understood their situation. Mother's hands trembled. Father's face went ashen. Michael looked like he might faint. Option 1, I explained. We submit everything to the SEC tomorrow. You face federal charges, asset seizure, and public humiliation. Option 2, James continued. You sign these papers now. Transfer all family assets to Neurotech's new investment division. We handle the SEC quietly, restructure the debt, and save what we can of the Bennett name. You want us to give you control of everything. Michael's voice cracked. I already have control, I corrected. I'm offering you a chance to keep some dignity. And maybe, I paused, learn how to build something legitimate for once. Mother looked up from the papers. These terms. We'd be working for you. You'd be working with my company, I clarified. Father's experience in client relations could be valuable, properly supervised. Mother's social connections might help our charitable foundation. And Michael, he flinched as I turned to him. You'll start in compliance. Learning banking regulations from the other side. Minimum wage, no benefits, for at least a year. This is revenge, he spat. No, I sat back at my desk. This is rehabilitation, and your only chance to avoid prison. Father stood slowly, decades of corporate negotiations visible in his stance. And if we sign, you'll protect the family name? I'll protect what's worth protecting, I replied, starting with the thousands of clients your son's firm has deceived. They get made whole first. Time-sensitive offer, James added. SEC's waiting for our call. Mother wiped a tear, careful not to smudge her makeup. Alexandra, when did you become so powerful, ruthless, successful? I smiled slightly. I always was. You just never bothered to see it. One by one, they signed. Michael last, his hand shaking so badly he could barely manage his signature. Welcome to Neurotech Solutions, I said as James collected the documents. Security will show you to HR for processing. Your new positions start tomorrow. They filed out quietly, broken aristocrats facing a new reality. But at the door, Mother turned back. That dinner, when we tried to intervene, you already knew everything then, didn't you? I knew everything years ago, I replied. I was just waiting for the right moment to show you. After they left, James stayed behind. That was almost merciful, considering what they did. Family's complicated, I said, watching their expensive cars being taken away by my security team. First step in asset recovery. Sometimes the best revenge is forcing people to become better than they were. My phone buzzed. Bloomberg wanted an exclusive on Neurotech's new investment division. Perfect timing, as always. Time to show the world what the quiet daughter could really do. 1 month later, I sat in my office reviewing the transformation. Bloomberg's headline said it all. Neurotech Solutions revolutionizes family office management. Traditional wealth meets AI innovation. The article didn't mention how my family was adjusting to their new reality. How Father, stripped of his executive titles, now worked in client relations, carefully supervised by my team. Or how Mother, her social calendar replaced by actual responsibilities, was learning to run a legitimate charitable foundation. And Michael? He sat in a tiny cubicle in compliance, reviewing banking regulations for minimum wage. A far cry from his corner office and inflated title. Your 3 p.m. is here, Sarah announced, interrupting my thoughts. I nodded, turning to face the wall of screens showing Neurotech's global operations. How's he doing? Third time this week he stayed late studying regulations. Actually seems to be trying. Interesting. I pulled up Michael's performance reports. His supervisor had noted genuine effort, despite the obvious humiliation of reporting to people he once would have dismissed. Send him in. Michael entered differently than he had a month ago. The designer suit was gone, replaced by off-the-rack business casual. His swagger had disappeared along with his American Express black card. Sit, I gestured to the chair across from me. How's compliance? Enlightening, he said carefully. I never realized how many regulations we were overlooking. Union violating? He flinched but nodded. Yes, the shortcuts I took, the rules I ignored. I'm seeing it all differently now. I studied him, remembering the brother who tried to destroy my company before it began. Your supervisor says you're showing promise. I'm trying to learn. He met my eyes for the first time in weeks. Really learn, not just fake it like before. My phone buzzed. Another alert about Bennett Financial. The SEC had quietly accepted our restructuring plan, avoiding public charges in exchange for full cooperation. The family name would survive, barely. Mom called, Michael said suddenly, from her new apartment. The downsizing had hit our mother hardest. Her beloved estate sold, her social status diminished, living in a modest condo paid for by her new foundation salary. How's she adjusting? She actually, he smiled slightly, talked about the foundation's work. Real excitement, not just social climbing. Dad, too, he's connecting with clients honestly for once. And Diana? I asked, referring to his status-obsessed wife. Left last week. Couldn't handle the reduced circumstances. He shrugged. Another new gesture. Probably for the best. I pulled up another file on my screen. Michael's personal financial records. Your credit counseling sessions? Humiliating but necessary. He straightened in his chair. I've learned more about ethical finance in 4 weeks than in my entire career. Good. I stood, walking to the window, because I'm offering you a choice. He waited, tension visible in his shoulders. Continue in compliance. Work your way up slowly. Maybe make junior analyst in 5 years. I turned back to him. Or join our new family office advisory division as a cautionary example. What? We're teaching other family offices how to transition to modern, ethical wealth management. I explained. Your story, the fraud, the downfall, the lessons learned, could be valuable if you're willing to own it. Understanding dawned on his face. You want me to admit everything, publicly? To select clients. Show them what happens when old-school family money meets modern regulatory scrutiny. I sat on the edge of my desk. Help other families avoid our mistakes. He was quiet for a long moment. The Michael from 2 months ago would have rejected the idea instantly, too proud to admit failure. But that Michael was gone. When do I start? I smiled, genuinely this time. Training begins next week. Same salary, but with potential for growth, based on genuine performance, not family connections. Why? He asked. After what I did to you, why offer this chance? Because you're learning, I replied. And because sometimes family deserves a second chance. Just one, though. He nodded, understanding the warning beneath the opportunity. One more thing. I pressed a button, and the screens filled with new data. Neurotech's AI has identified similar fraud patterns in 12 other family offices. The SEC's very interested. You're going after all of them. We're offering them the same choice we gave you. Modernize or face extinction. I handed him a folder. Your first assignment. Review these cases. Identify the patterns you recognize from your own experience. He took the folder with newfound respect. The quiet sister who watched and learned became the one who changed everything. I finished. Don't forget it. After he left, Sarah brought in the latest market reports. Neurotech's stock had doubled again. Our AI systems were revolutionizing not just technology, but how generational wealth adapted to modern scrutiny. My phone buzzed with a message from Mother. The Foundation's education initiative helped 50 students today. Really helped them, not just for show. Thank you for showing me a better way. I saved the message. A small validation that some lessons were finally being learned. On my screen, the global map of Neurotech's operations pulsed with activity. Each light represented change, innovation, progress. The quiet daughter had built something revolutionary, something that would reshape not just her family's legacy, but the entire landscape of wealth and power. And yes, I was just getting started. But this time, I wasn't starting alone. I was bringing everyone else into the future, whether they were ready or not.